Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Right, from Brexit to Trump now. President Trump's been in office 458 days, which means he has 1,003 left to go until his second term or his departure. Plenty of Americans are counting the days under Trump and preparing for election next year or 2020. Emily is over in the States and joins us now from Washington.
Evan, thanks. Good evening from Washington. The November midterms are, of course, just 6 months away, but already we're seeing one extraordinary trend. Women are running for office in record numbers, higher than at any point in American history. You can call it the Me Too effect, you can call it the Trump effect. Perhaps it's something far more complicated and a mixture of both or neither. But at the moment, women hold only around 20% of the seats in Congress. Will that change in 2018? We headed to Texas, where they haven't voted a new woman into office for the last 22 years. Courage, the old cowgirls say, is being scared to death and saddling up anyway. Certainly there is a fearlessness to Texan women that has always been apparent in their horsemanship. They start them young, on sheep. Mutton busting teaches kids to hang on for dear life. A 7-year-old girl wins the trophy here.
This is going to be a close call as we look to our fist.
But in 2018, they're taking the reins in a whole different way, running in record numbers for Congress. No surprise, perhaps, that this is a deeply conservative state. Texas hasn't voted for a new female candidate for Congress for 22 years. They call it the Texan drought. It's not that women weren't winning, they weren't even running. But now, suddenly, they are, in their droves, at least 3 times more than 2 years ago. So we've come to the Lone Star State to find out why.
I think women have had important roles all along, but just because of everything that's being said and all of the different nuances and everything in politics, I think it's coming out more and more. You see it more.
As a gay woman living in Texas, it's just go get them, is all I have to say about that.
Do you have any sense of why things might be changing now? There's 3 times more women standing now than there were 2 years ago.
I just think it has to do with the brave women who are speaking up. Like, women all want a voice, but they need someone to lead them.
Amazing. Vanessa Adair is a school teacher and a Democrat. She made up her mind to run on the Women's March in Washington, the day after the inauguration of Donald Trump.
Almost every speaker said, you know, if you don't like the way things are, grab a clipboard, get some signatures, and run yourself. I think that Donald Trump has made a lot of things normal that shouldn't be. He's used his platform in a sense to bully others, and that has an impact on our communities. It has an impact on our children. It has an impact on the way we interact with our neighbors, and we've become much more divided. And the problem with us and them is that them always includes our neighbors. It includes people that we love. And we need to get away from this divisive rhetoric that has been started by this administration, and especially during the election.
Well, I'd love to earn your vote.
Gina Ortiz-Jones, standing in San Antonio, served her country in Iraq and Syria. She redefines what a US veteran looks like: gay, Filipina, female, and a Democrat. And admits the turning point for her also came the day the 2016 administration took shape.
It's a response to, you know, a president, a commander-in-chief as well, that thinks you can, you know, grab women by their private parts, right? I mean, we are no longer going to assume that somebody is going to do for us that which we can do for ourselves. I think this is, you can't be surprised that the people that have the most to lose, women, members of the LGBT community, you know, other minorities, are stepping up and saying, you know, I can do this. I'm going to run for office.
50 women are standing for the November midterms in Texas. It's a record number, but it's also a pattern that looks to be replicated right across the country. There is perhaps a perfect irony to what is happening right now. The Trump presidency has ignited, inadvertently, a new wave of feminism. Many women point to Trump being the momentum behind their choice to run, be it in response to his policies on women's healthcare, the rolling back of reproductive rights and freedoms, or his unconventional path to the White House, proof, quite frankly, that anyone can have a go.
Can we make you some coffee? Or when you're finished, I can make you some tea.
Jennifer Saba ran as a Republican in Austin. She tells me it's too simplistic to claim it's all about Trump.
There certainly is a pink wave of women running nationally, but that's only a part of the story. In Texas, we haven't seen a woman elected in 22 years, and we have 8 open seats in Congress. I think so many women in Texas run because there's an opportunity for the first time. When you have an open seat, it creates an opportunity for you to run. And so women are responding to that, the lack of incumbency, which is incumbency is the biggest challenge for women. They get an opportunity to run when there's an open seat.
Certainly the newcomers here have a tough fight ahead. Texas has one of the lowest voter turnouts in the country. And, perhaps too easily swayed by moustaches and machismo, I can't help wondering if this red meat state is really ready for change.
Well, the thing is that women need to step up to the plate. We're just like men.
And why do you think it's happening now?
I have no idea, but I'm glad they're doing that.
I think that's a great thing because that's part of what our country's about. You know, equal rights and women have say-so just like men.
The November midterms, just 6 months away, will show us if the greater number of female candidates translates into actual ballot success. Certainly, there are uphill battles here, not because they're women, but because they're Democrats fighting the Deep South. But perhaps that misses the point. There is now a pink wave of female electoral energy that is making itself felt across the country. The first steps may be relatively small ones, but the movement itself, that looks like it has longevity. Well, that was our piece from Texas. We're back in Washington now, and I've got with me Stephanie Shriok, who is from Emily's List, and I'm going to let you try and explain, Stephanie, what Emily's List does. It is pro-Democrat and pro-choice specifically, isn't it?
So, well, we've been around for over 30 years with our sole mission is to elect pro-choice Democratic women to office. So we train, recruit, support, sit at kitchen tables across this country, encourage women to run and back them up, and that's what we've been doing for over 3 decades.
So you come to this undisguised with an agenda of a policy. Is the policy itself more important rather than the number of women standing?
Now, we are very much about representation. Our goal is to see in the Senate and the United States House of Representatives and every legislature in the country, 50% women, maybe 60 to make up for lost time. Our real goal here is to make sure that all of our governing bodies have an equal number of women and men sitting at our decision-making tables, really looking at the policies that affect our families.
And this has been going on for a couple of decades now. When you look around now and you see what the women in my piece describe as an extraordinary sense of change, what do you think is pushing it?
Well, and I'm so glad you were in Texas because we're seeing it every state across the country, and to see Gina Ortiz-Jones come through, you know, her primary with such strength in the runoff. We are seeing this all over, and as you just heard, Emily's List has been doing this for over 3 decades. I honestly sometimes feel we've been practicing for 3 decades for this moment. It is unprecedented. Emily's List has had over 36,000 women contact us wanting to run for office. And just
this
time around, just to give you a sense of a comparison, last election in the 2016 election, 920.
Gosh, that is a phenomenal jump.
It's unprecedented. It is historic, and they're running. They're beginning to win. So it's really amazing.
Why do you think it wasn't happening before? I mean, you know, will you look back on the Trump administration and say, actually, this was the moment where people were energized. This is where the momentum came from.
You know, and it is something we've always talked about, because I sometimes feel Emily's List has been waiting for this moment, and we have encouraged so many women to run, and we've helped women. Over 100 women have won in the United States House of Representatives because of Emily's List. But what I think we needed was, I mean, maybe we needed election 2016. It was the combination of Hillary Clinton, who was so immensely qualified that so many women were committed to seeing her win. And when she didn't, and she lost to that man, to Donald Trump, who's willing to talk about women in such terrible terms as we all know he does. That was the catalyst for feeling some need to take control of their future, which is extraordinary.
Except one of the criticisms that people have laid at the door, perhaps of the Obama administration, is that there weren't enough women coming through then. You know, why was there only Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders to choose from? Where was this large raft of female voices, of Democrats? That party didn't have any. Why hadn't it nurtured that talent enough?
Well, I would say you've got to look underneath. You know, that was a presidential election, and only one person comes through at the end of the day. And Hillary Clinton broke through a significant glass ceiling just to become the first woman nominee of a major party in this country, and we couldn't be prouder. I have no doubts that you and I are going to see the first, second, and third women president of the United States in the time coming. But in that same election, which folks don't look at, we elected 4 new women to the United States Senate. We elected, you know, dozens of women across the country. But you're right, something else has shifted. We've been making steady progress. And I'm proud of the steady progress, but we need to make a huge sea change of progress now, and that's what this moment is about.
Stephanie Schuert, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us on Newsnight. That is all we have time for here in Washington, but tomorrow normal service resumes. We'll be back talking men's work. Donald Trump hosting his first state visit for the French President Emmanuel Macron, and we'll bring you the latest from that press conference too. Evan.
Emily, thank you very much indeed.